Hello friends, I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I of trauma-informed non-diet dietitians provide a safe enough space for you to learn how to be your own food and nutrition expert. And so we're talking about health, anxiety, and all or nothing thinking and black and white thinking this week. And I just want to give you a couple examples of honestly how I see this really almost perpetually kind of play out, and maybe how you could do something different. So here's a really common example. If we're coming into, let's say, any kind of a health diagnosis, I'm not sure I would even call it that, but let's say you get a diagnosis of some kind, and we're going to call it along the lines of insulin resistance, just as that. So you get some blood work and your A1C's creeping up on the high side or on the high side, and either we do Dr. Google, or maybe even our own healthcare provider says, oh, you need to cut out all the carbs, or don't eat sugar anymore, or fast, or whatever. So a very all or nothing, really fast intervention for a really complex issue. And if we're going into that information with a black and white thinking mentality, we'll think, well, yeah, that's right, that's what I should do. But from a trauma-informed and non-diet approach, we would say, okay, so my body is struggling to, in certain amounts, metabolize carbohydrates, glucose, basically. And I'm seeing all this information that says that, I should do some really drastic things. But wait a minute, haven't I already done lots of drastic things since I was an adolescent or a young adult to either improve my health or change my body to have more acceptance? And that doesn't seem to have worked. And we kind of tend to think that health improvements are any different, that if we do drastic things, that it won't matter because it's for something different, right? And that's not the case at all. What we'd want to say is, let's be really curious. So I wonder how I figure out what load of carbohydrates my body can deal with, along with the other indicators of health, behaviors of health, like let's say medications or supplements or movement, nervous system health regulation, and trauma counseling, and having a bigger sense of some purpose and some connection. How do I navigate illnesses if that's what I do? Because the body actually needs more carbohydrates for your immune system. But if you're eating none because you're doing this low carb, no sugar, whatever thing, now you're extra wanting, but you haven't figured out how to do it. So it's just really, really curious if we can look at it from a curiosity and possibility perspective. How do I manage this condition without being black or white, all or nothing? What would that look like? What all factors also play into this? You could say the same thing for a gut health condition. Again, many times people come in and, they get some kind of elimination diet thing to do for gut health things, and sometimes maybe that's warranted, but it can be done more slowly, more gently, less provocatively. That might trigger some old diet stuff. Because what starts to happen when we want to make some health changes for health, let's say, and if we're coming at it from a black and white mentality, is that you're going to scare yourself back into restricting and binging. That's typically what's going to happen. Or we get so afraid that we're going to go back to that, we won't do anything for any health changes at all. And so, but again, that's your black and white thinking. So those are really common examples of what we see. Again, we want to bring curiosity and possibility to those situations. Okay, so if my body is maybe struggling with certain kinds of fibers or whatever, I need to figure out when and how often and how much of anything that my body can handle. Maybe I only find one food that my body's just not happy with. Everything else is okay, either certain times a day or certain amounts. But again, we can't discover that if we're trying to make something happen like that. And that's typically what we do, is that we see our bodies as a threat. We see diagnosis, on some level. I know some diagnoses are really scary. I get that. But most of the things that we're dealing with here are syndromes and diseases that, happen for all kinds of things, but they're not going to hurt you this second. Okay? And we need some space to be able to figure out, how do I manage this long term and not be obsessive, not be compulsive, have some peace, right? So that's the thing we want to talk about, in these videos, is to be able to like, what are my options versus I have to do it this way because so-and-so said it, or Dr. Google said it, or some guru did it. And so I guess that's it for this video this week, is really understanding that black and white thinking will sabotage your efforts for actually long-term navigation, not only of your nervous system health, then therefore your actual other physical health, your body system health. And so we want to start to capture those thoughts of like always, never, should, I must, I have to, that always lead to what's the point, I can't, it never gets better because this is the cycle, versus, I wonder what I could do here, and what can I do, and what would that be like, and what do I need right now, and what's the data here that I'm getting from these smaller, subtler changes that I can make additions to slowly over time. So that's your options. I want to let everybody know you have options besides black and white thinking. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next series. Bye for now.